party people. Welcome once again to the Party of One podcast, the actual play RPG podcast where the gaming table is always set for two. I'm your host as always, Jeff Stormer, and this week on the show, I am joined by Audrey for a game of Eyes on the Prize. Eyes on the Prize by Ira Prince is a court intrigue game for 2 to 4 players, 1 or 2 pairs, in which you dream up a fake married couple, and then attempt to wield their fraudulent union to achieve their shared goals. Perform badly and nobody will buy it, tripping up your attempts to advance your plots. Perform too well, and you might start fooling even yourselves, which would just be so embarrassing. This game is funny, sexy, fast, is slow. It is mischievous and self-indulgent. I adored playing this game. Like, this game hits so incredibly well. What a treasure. I had so much fun playing this game. I really hope that you check it out. I think you're going to enjoy listening to it as much as we enjoyed playing it. I really hope that you check out the game. You can find more information about Eyes on the Prize at iraprince.itch.io, or you can check the show notes for more information. Audrey, also known as Lady Tabletop around the internet, is the host of Alone at the Table, an actual play podcast about solo role-playing games. I say this on the episode, but I'm going to say it again here. If you like Party of One, and you like the way that we do this show, the way that the show is, like, very simple in its design, but also quietly kind of big and elaborate and weird in ways that you might not notice at first, that to me is very much how I feel about Alone at the Table. It is one of those shows that, like, the premise of it is so straightforward. Audrey sits down and plays solo role-playing games, scores it with some music and sound effects, and shares them with you, the audience. And then, like, what's so unbelievably cool and mind-blowing about that is just running right under the surface, which is that, like, Audrey is playing through solo RPGs and turning them into actual play performance art, and that is the sickest thing on the planet. And also, they are exceptionally good at finding that vibe, finding that story, finding that energy, and bringing it out through actual play. The show fucking rips. I truly adore Alone at the Table. I am a genuine fan of the show, and I really want you to go check it out. And also, crucially, as you listen to this episode, if you enjoy hearing Audrey and I do goofums on mic, you'll be excited to know that this weekend, a few days after I drop this episode, so if you're listening shortly after drop, you're catching it at the right time. Memorial Day weekend 2024 is the Moonshot Podcast Network's annual charity stream, and this year the theme is Moongaritaville. It is a fundraising stream benefiting the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society with a whole bunch of cool, weird, fun variety stream blocks, including but not limited to Smack Talk Showdown, the pro wrestling promo card game, a live table read of the script of Piranha 3D, and of course, Highlander 2, the unofficial role-playing game by Adam DeCamp, a role-playing game about making a sequel to the 1986 film Highlander, with some studio notes that maybe come from the film Highlander 2, The Quickening. I am so excited for all of these charity stream events. It is going to be a full 3 days of streams and fun and fundraising for a good cause. I really hope you will join us. That is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Memorial Day weekend 2024 at twitch.tv/Moonshot Network. And with all that said, let's go ahead and throw it over to me in the past so that he can get started with the show. Take it past me. Thanks, future me. I am so excited. I'm sitting down with Audrey this week. Audrey, thank you so much for coming on Party of One.
Thank you so much for having me, Jeff. I, long-time listener, first-time caller, and all of that jazz. So it's nice to be here.
You know what? Like, this is a moment where I get to, like, sit down with somebody. This is 2 people who respect each other's work a great deal, getting to play a game together, and that is one of the greatest. That's really what brings me back to this podcast again and again and again. And speaking of, why don't you take a moment at the very top of the episode and let our audience at home know about anything that you've got going on that you might want them to know about?
Sure. So I host a podcast called Alone at the Table, and that is kind of my big project right now beyond just writing a bunch of random little games and stuff. So I play solo RPGs. I invite listeners to come along for the experience. I try to play a variety of stuff, so it's not all just journaling games. I do a little bit of like experimental stuff. And I've been on a brief hiatus, but coming back for the end of the year, big stuff planned for next year. So I'm really, really excited to have people listen to that. And also, if you like shit posts that got turned into games, I just wrote a game called Behold a Game that's about game designers debating what a game is.
I saw that going around on Tumblr, and like there's a joyful experience that I love truly when you watch a post blow up, and there's the that's my friend, that's my friend's funny comment, my friend did a funny thing, and like whenever you see it kind of like cycle back around again and again, it's just there's such a distinct joy of pointing at a viral post and going, that's my friend, everybody, that's my funny friend.
I was pretty excited to be able to make some philosophy jokes because I have just a lot of opinions about philosophy. So it was fun.
It made me so happy to see. So this week we are playing a game that we are both very, very excited about. We had to stop ourselves from gushing about it because we wanted to capture it on mic. We are playing Eyes on the Prize, which is a fake marriage role-playing game. Basically, we are going to play. You know what? I'm going to start us off by reading the text, and then we're going to talk about it a little bit. Excellent. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single troublemaker in possession of an absurd problem with no reasonable or realistic solutions must be in want of a made-up wife. We are troublemakers. Maybe you don't think you are. Maybe to you, your most unfortunate and ludicrous circumstances are no fault of your own, and it is only misfortune that you have been driven to such lengths. But the fact of the matter is that when all is said and done, you need your situation upended so badly that you've ended up fake married about it. So it goes. Unfortunately for you, there is nothing more appealing to the rumor mongers and scandal hobbyists of court society than unusual marriage. If the two of you want a chance to meet your goals, you'll have to play your parts and you'll have to play them immaculately. Get your shit done. Don't get caught. And absolutely, positively, do not fall in love for real. That would be so fucking embarrassing.
Oh, I'm so delighted to play this game with you, Jeff.
I'm thrilled. Now, I want to ask at the very top, like, talk to me about, like, what is it about this game genre experience that really made you, like, made this the game that we wanted to sit down and play today?
So I am a huge sucker for like romance stories and the romance genre. And, one of those people who, like, if I'm playing a role playing game, often I want to shoe some romance in there just to kind of see how it plays out, whether it blows up dramatically or whether it ends up happily ever after. Who cares, right? I love that kind of thing. And this game showing up like when I'm doing my annual rewatch of 2005's Pride and Prejudice movie starring Keira Knightley, this movie it really speaks to me.
I feel very, very similarly. I am a sucker for a rom-com fake marriage contrivance, but also the other piece of it that really like appeals to me so much is how much it emphasizes that you're kind of dirtbags.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's something really like, I love the trope of we have to pretend to be married regardless, but there's something extra special to me when we are doing it for the worst possible reasons, right? Like, there's something joyful to me about the way that the game describes you as troublemakers.
Yes.
Is very appealing to me. And I mentioned this to you before we got on mic, but like my TikTok feed has been so many clips of Dennis Reynolds from Always Sunny. And like the way that Always Sunny approaches a scheme is close to my heart that's a lot of the energy that I'm bringing into today's playthrough.
Which I think is perfect. And I don't know if you know this about me, Jeff, but like my first tabletop game that wasn't D&D was Fiasco. And this game feels so adjacent to Fiasco, where the object is to have some convoluted, horrible plan that goes horribly wrong, basically.
It's a good energy, and I really appreciate that the game has really structured itself around this specific energy of we're going to be dirtbags pretending to be married, and that's probably not going to work out for us is very, very good, and I'm very, very excited.
Yes, it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be great.
I'm so thrilled. So let's start out by making some characters. The way that this is going to work is we are playing both sides of a couple who is pretending to be married to accomplish our goal. We're going to start by making a character, which is an appearance, deciding on how they're addressed, name, pronouns, titles. we're going to come up with a few words for a personality and a reason why they're currently unhappy, dissatisfied, or yearning. The example from the game is a slick, lighthearted con artist who expects to be caught but wants to enjoy the high life until then and thinks an aristocrat on their arm would be the perfect cover. So do you have a vibe of, and I should say a little bit about the setting. We can kind of decide how fantastical, magical, realistic we want to go. But like a lot of the game is built towards sort of court romance aesthetics, sort of your
Right.
Pride and Prejudice style aesthetics, whether that is in a fantasy world, a historical world, a real world. But that's the general vibe. Do you have do you have any personality notes, reasons why your character might be unhappy? What are the thoughts in your top of your head at this moment?
I think a little bit. I want to do someone whose idea of defying their parents is just to marry someone that they don't approve of out of like spite. And it's some sort of like roundabout way of like gaining independence maybe, or of gaining a certain respect or position in their eyes, I think. But that's kind of where I'm at. Is I like to start this kind of story with someone who's pretty selfish.
I'm kind of feeling the same. I'm coming into it with like an idea on, I don't necessarily have my reason yet, but like there's a specific vibe that's been in my head, especially as I was reading this. I've been playing, I refound one of my life's great passions, which is a not particularly good video game from the year 2008.
Oh boy.
I've been playing a lot of Sid Meier's Pirates Gold lately. So I've been doing a lot of piracy. I've been doing a lot of dancing with mayor's daughters.
Yes.
And there's something about that, like that energy of I am a vicious, hated pirate who is pretending to be on the up and up for a reason that I have not fully landed on yet has been where my head has been at this entire time.
I love that so much. And I want to add a layer kind of to what I'm thinking. So it's not just spite. Like it is spite to get parents off their back or whatever. But I think maybe, and you tell me if you're okay with this, Jeff, I think maybe my character is a vigilante. And
Vigilante's very good.
And needs to appear as though they have settled so that there's no more like rumors going around that make it sound like they're the vigilante.
That's very good. Then I am going to say my character is a pirate, very much in the mercenary tradition.
Okay.
Like I am a hired gun, a vicious pirate pretending to be on the up and up because I think that gives us we're going to answer some questions about like our relationship and the scheme that we're on in a moment. But that gives us some angles that we can pull on, whether we are enemies who have been wrapped into this, whether we've been butting heads, whether like it is you have hired me. Like there's good energy there. And I think that my character is unhappy. I'm gonna just put down that like I have got my character pitch. I'm a vicious pirate on the up and up, looking to rob some rich fucks and get a few free dinners. That's the vibe. I think the vibe is that like I am leaning into this deception because like at the end of this, I'm walking away with as much money as I can put on my boat. And if I get to live the high life for a couple weeks before that, then I'm going to do that.
I love that. Okay, so I've revised my pitch. I'm a vigilante marrying someone to throw off the haters and my parents.
That's the haters is very good. All right. So we got our characters. Now we're going to work together. I guess we should give names. We can kind of come up with names and pronouns and such as we go. But
sure.
We have to come up with what the partnership is. So the first thing is what our characters bring strategically to the fake marriage and why we need the other person. Why do we need each other? Like let's look at our characters. What are we bringing to this partnership together?
Okay. I have a wild thought, so stop me here if you have to
hit
interject. Me. All right. So I think maybe my vigilante character has been on the trail of your pirate, and this is like a tentative truce so that the vigilante can get like a bigger fish, maybe.
I really like that. Okay, so that also points us towards the plot. Can I want to throw
Yes.
in that this bigger fish, this is leaning into both the vigilante and the pirate theme. There is the corrupt head of a shipping company is like here at a luxurious retreat.
Oh gosh. Okay, yes. I love that. I think that fills it out nicely too, because it's like partnering with this pirate gets the vigilante closer to the bigger mark, but also they can't take down the pirate without sinking themselves figuratively. So the pirate's gonna get their free dinners.
Pirate also gets I think the other thing is that I also get a payday. Like
Yeah.
if you're gonna take down this head of a shipping company, I'm gonna use that as an opportunity to get like a pretty massive paycheck. We'll fight some other time.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It also is the energy of like, well, if you're gonna take this guy down, I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna bilk this fucker for all he's worth.
As you should.
Everybody wins. So, what is our place in the society? Do we want to be able to continue holding that position, or will this ruse be a turning point for you? What do you want when you walk away from this?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's like a follow-up question, right? Like what do you plan to do once you've gotten what you need, and have you even talked about it with your partner, kind of thing?
I think my place in the society, I've written down that my pirate is a monster in the night, right? Like people are afraid of my pirate persona. And frankly, I'm very happy with this arrangement. That to me is great.
I think, okay. So I think that for my vigilante, obviously they already hold a decent position in society, and I think that like a marriage cements it without the pesky like needs of courtship and all of that stuff that society would hold for them.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think that they very much don't want to stay married to this person. So they're probably, I think that they're a little bit hot-headed and jumped into this without necessarily thinking about what the end would be. Like it's convenient for them to be married, but it's not convenient for them to be married to this particular person.
And I think that along the same lines, I am not hot-headed. I am short-sighted. Like,
Ooh.
I have not considered anything beyond like, because the idea I'm going to throw out maybe that you were the one that approached me, or that we
absolutely
had this like arrangement at gun/sword point of like, this is the deal. This is what's going to happen. I didn't think through the implications once. I was just like, that works. Give me free dinners. Give me a paycheck. I'm all in.
I love that. Yeah. Having this conversation at arms, crossed blades or whatever is very funny to me. Very choice. I think it's fantastic.
And so, what are you planning to do about the marriage? I think like in my mind, it's, yeah, once we get what we want, we're going to go out on the water and we're going to like one of us is going to die. I think that's frankly a great arrangement.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I think that I think the vigilante maybe has it in their head that at the end of this, they're for sure arresting the pirate. They're for sure taking him in.
That's so very good, because like the idea that we're both like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck you up. I don't know what you think is gonna come out of it.
It's very good.
So what are the stakes? What happens if you fail? What happens if you succeed? And what happens if you fall in love? If we fail, I think if we succeed, this head of this company, this head of this evil trading shipping company head is fucked, is the only way to describe it. Is yes. Busted, is taken down, is ruined, is robbed, is left for dead, if not murdered in the street.
I think, yeah. So if we succeed, that for sure happens. And who knows what happens to the marriage, maybe.
Yeah.
um, but if we fail, then it becomes this like, not only is this guy going free to continue like taking it. I mean, I think at this point we can reasonably say that we live in some sort of coastal harbor town, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, like so he keeps having a chokehold on this area and on high society and the seas and everything, and so for both of us that's a little bit miserable.
Yep.
What happens if we fall in love?
It's gonna make me really sad when I have to kill you at sea.
Oh no. I was gonna say if we fall in love, I think my vigilante might just have to leave town and never come back.
Because I really like the like for my character, who I'm getting a real clear picture of, like, now that I think we're at a point now that we've concocted the story, we've started to like have these, interactions with people. It's just now setting in that this is a real possibility and like the realities of this. But I don't think that he has the foresight to really imagine like a change in his plans. Like, it's like,
I love it.
Well, I'm going to take them out. Like, we're going to go out to sea and we're going to have a battle to the death and one of us is going to walk away. But like, it's going to really suck if we're in love.
Oh, that's just really good. That's just really good. Oh man. Okay, so does your pirate have a name, pronouns, now that we've kind of fleshed them out?
Yes, I am thinking I am Strafer Cartwright, the Infernal Galleon, and my pronouns are he, his.
Oh my god, that's really good. That's really good. All right. I got to come up with something now.
I've also written down the alter ego of Lord Maestro Carnivorous Tagnico.
Is that his like pirate persona?
I think that's the name he has given himself in this situation. Fake names were not necessarily on the table because the Infernal Galleon is like a person, like Strafer Cartwright is not a name that is like well known enough that he needed a fake name. He just saw people in outfits and was like, I am the Lord Maestro Carnivorous Tagnico. Good day to you.
I love this very much. Okay, so I'm doing my character is Hartford Dellington, and we'll say that their nickname is Hart because that's very funny to me. And their alter ego, the Vigilante, is the Masked Brawler. And they're not changing their name. No fake names here.
I love this. I love this so much. Okay, so the final thing that we're going to build is the falsehoods of the marriage, the pieces that we are going to tell everyone. How did we meet? How or why did we fall in love? And what are our shared plans for the future?
Oh man. Okay. Is your pirate's alter ego also a sailor?
I think yes, because I think that, like, I'm gonna say yes, and I'm gonna say is like a shrimp boat captain. Like is like a fisher or like a fish. I run a small fishing boat concern. We have boats all along and up and down the coast. It is a humble enterprise, but it is one that is most respectable and profitable at the same time.
I love that. Okay. Oh man, that makes me feel like the way that we met would have to be, at sea, right?
Yep, sure.
Oh man, I think maybe we established that Hart was on a ship that went down, and Lord Maestro Carnivorous Tagnico came to their rescue, and it was a whirlwind romance.
And as for what we're gonna do when we get married, I think I have proposed a wedding at sea on my most luxurious yacht.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh man, the why did we fall in love? That makes me feel like it has to have some sort of detail, like, oh, I was captivated by something.
Um, I think I'm trying to think. Like, I want what Lord Maestro says to be like a very piratey thing.
Okay.
I'm gonna say I saw gold. I saw gold in their eyes.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. Yeah, I mean, heart probably I think that heart probably just says something to the effect of who can resist a rescuer or something to that effect.
That's very good. That's very, very good. I love this so very much. This is a good energy. These are two very good, all sort of dirtbags. And now we'll go through mechanics, because the mechanics in this game are so absolutely delightful.
Yes.
So what's going to happen here is we are going to appear at a number of high society events as we work towards completing our plot. We work towards taking down this corrupt shipping magnate. How that's going to work is I have a deck of playing cards here in front of me. I'm going to draw us a card. We will read a prompt. We'll take turns reading prompts and describing what is happening. As we do that, we will collect tokens into one of three categories. Affection, which is how attracted to each other we are, how distracting the relationship has become, and the disintegration of our boundaries. There's plot, which is how close we are to getting our plan together and our focus on our shared goals. And suspicion, the degree to which others in your orbit see through the veneer of the marriage and the scrutiny and skepticism that we've attracted. How this is going to work is as we draw cards, the different prompts will either reward or take away various tokens. If at any point we get into negative categories in a token, it will actually increase one of our other categories. I'll go through that if it occurs. And the single most important rule, the one very important rule about token changes, if your partner player's response to a prompt or challenge makes you fall in love with their character, you must also add one affection no matter what the prompt says. That is one of the best rules that I've ever read.
I absolutely love it.
All right. Then with that, we are at, I think, I'm just going to set this scene a little bit for like where I imagine we are. We're in this coastal town. We're in this harbor town. This is like a luxurious coastal villa, right? There are gazebos and there is horseback riding. This is luxury incarnate. We are on the cliffs over the sea. There is white water crashing into the rocks below. Like, this is the most picturesque a place can be. And we are at this grand gala. What do you think the gala is for? What's the thing that pops into your head? Like, what is this? Like, this is a very big gathering of people. What are they gathering for?
I think that probably, so it's a seaside town, so I think that it's probably like a changing of the tides kind of seasonal celebration. Just one of those excuses to get the whole town together and to eat some of the wonderful seafood that everybody's brought in, and show yourself off.
I love that. I love that a lot. I think I like about that is a notable, and I think is an immediate source of discomfort for Strafer, is he was anticipating that this was just going to be the rich and like the hoity-toity. But there's a lot of like lower and middle class folks who have like put on a nice outfit and have brought like their seafood from home, of like, this is my family's patented seafood boil recipe, and is immediately like, well, the Lord Maestro is feeling a little out of place. This shall be interesting.
I love it.
All right, then would you like should I draw the first card?
Yes, please do.
I will draw and answer the first card, and then I will hand it to you for the second. We have the Four of Diamonds. The Four of Diamonds is a question. Are you more extroverted or introverted than your spouse? Are you rubbing off on them? Are people noticing? how do I envision this character? I think Strafer is an extrovert. I think Strafer is very, especially like in the persona of the Lord Maestro, is very like eager to jump into conversations, but I also think he's just kind of like a little bit on the rowdy side, which I think is actually what makes the fact that there are like people who are actually fun and cool at this gathering dangerous, is that like he is getting more extroverted by the minute because he's around people that are actually fun and engaging. And that's the thing that I think people are noticing is like, oh, this Lord Maestro seemed kind of stuck up at first, but he's kind of letting it all hang out a little bit.
I like that. I like that a lot.
How about Heart? Like how does that differ or similar to Heart?
So I think that normally Heart probably is fine at navigating social situations, but just fine. You know, like not extra charming, not extra wallflowery, but being out and about with Lord Maestro, even though the point is to be seen, I think that Heart very much is like, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, like wanting to just kind of stay to the sidelines, especially because it's their first outing being married.
Mm-hmm. I do not think Strafer is letting that happen at all.
Absolutely not, is what it sounds like to me.
That's very funny. All right, would you like the next card?
Please and thank you.
So talk to us about the 7 of Clubs.
Clubs. 7 of clubs. Goodness, look at the time. What did you two get caught up in that entirely distracted you from your plans? So so this prompt gives us -1 plot and +1 affection. So I think maybe we have to like set the scene a little bit here, because we're obviously at this gala. Strafer's talking to people. Heart is reluctantly talking to people, trying to look normal. I think, let's see. I think maybe that there was like a moment during the party where some of these more like peerage class or like lower class people are here, with their different like seafood gumbos and like boiled cod or whatever. Boiled cod actually sounds horrible. I'm sorry I said that. But
it's like real, like there's like some really well done fish fry like out and about.
Yeah,
that's like
yeah.
a really great breading on it.
They maybe find themselves in like that part of the party where I think a lot of the like more noble class people are not necessarily spending a ton of time there. Like they're spending the appropriate amount and then kind of drifting away. And I think maybe Hart and Strafer end up just really enjoying some good food together with some local people and like talking about the recipes and stuff, and realize that they have completely missed an opportunity to like sit and dine with this ship corrupt guy. Forgot what he was called for a second.
I like that. I like that energy a lot, especially because that means that our affection goes up by 1 and our plot goes into the negative. But negative plot also becomes plus affection, because the longer it takes to move things forward, the more time you're spending with each other. If you're not careful, this waffling around might turn into distraction of a more amorous kind. So yes. I really like the energy of we're in this, like we've entered into this party. We are immediately met by a different class of person than we were expecting, and Straightforward just kind of like drops everything to be like, I'm eating fish fry, this is great, and is like letting the pirate come out a little bit of like, taking the very, I have literally been like putting my hands locked behind my back whenever I kind of imagine the Lord Maestro, but like kind of like putting a hand on the knee and like leaning in and kind of like taking kind of a Captain Kirk stance in the chair and being like, this is great. Where are you catching these fish? Because look at the size of this. Look at the size of this little fucker. This is great. You guys are a blast. And like, it's just truly letting it hang out at this party a little bit.
I love that too, because I think that Hart, maybe because of like wanting people to not suspect that they're a vigilante, doesn't usually spend that much time outside of like the upper class. And so being able to spend time in this place where he is maybe a little, or they're maybe a little more comfortable, is kind of where an unexpected moment to relax for them.
I enjoy that a lot. I like that a whole lot. This is a great energy. And we are now at 2 affection, 0 plot, and 0 suspicion. I'm going to draw our next card, and we have the 7 of Hearts. The 7 of Hearts. You spot someone attractive across the hall and stare a little too long. What alluring trait do they have that your fake spouse doesn't? I'm going to say the first thing that popped into my mind, a thick, lustrous beard is the thing that pops into my head.
Oh my God. Yes.
Like really
Hart
well.
does not have a beard at all. That was not what I was picturing. So
well manicured, like groomed, very just thick and lustrous. And like, you know, it just catches Strafer's eye. And he's kind of like, maybe even starts to, you know, the aesthetic is almost cat in a cartoon who has just smelled a ham. So like you get the little kind of like the head and the face is moving and the body is sort of like trailing behind like hello, and it kind of has to be grabbed by the arm like, oh yes, right, of course. Room 312. Yes, of course.
I love that. Oh, that's really good.
And that's going to drop our suspicion by 1, increase our suspicion by 1 and drop our affection by 1. So that means we have 1 suspicion, 1 affection, 0 plot.
Yeah. And the suspicion, right, is just like people around kind of noticing Strafer looking at someone who's not his partner.
Yeah. Like it's not hard to miss.
Right.
All right. Next card is the 7 of Spades. Something about your spouse is totally at odds with your lifestyle. It would have been a deal breaker in a real relationship. Bring it up in spite of yourself.
Oh, gosh. Okay. See, the obvious answer is to be like, oh, the piracy, but that's not something that Hart can bring up. So I have to think of something here. Okay. I think so. Whether it is actually Strafer's personality or the Lord Maestro persona, I think that just like the boisterous nature that like he approaches people without hesitation, without thought of consequence or like who might be watching or what people will think, that is just really at odds with the way that Hart lives, because they definitely are more of a cautious person, like not thinking ahead necessarily, but definitely in like social situations very alert. And so I think that maybe so in this scene, you know, we're talking to the locals and stuff, and maybe we've started to kind of wander back over towards like the upper class, and in front of, you know, a group of people that were all just kind of standing around with a drink or whatever, Hart says, like, as the Lord Maestro starts talking again, Hart says something to the effect of, don't you ever think before you speak?
We are going to lose 1 affection.
Whew.
per the card prompt. But also I think that we put it right back. Cuz I think that Strafer is so immediately like, oh fuck, I haven't been thinking before I speak, and is so like used to just kind of shooting from the hip, for lack of a better way to put it, that having somebody call him on his bullshit so immediately is like, oh, actually, you're 100% right. yes, like, and you kind of see that like there's this disarmament, right? There's this immediate sense of, I can't tell you the last time somebody like actually stepped to me and checked me, because I'm usually the captain of the ship and a terrifying pirate, that somebody would check me in front of people. I'm like, oh, aha, interesting.
I love that. I love it.
And I am drawing the 6 of Spades. Why weren't you already married before this? If you were, why didn't it last? Does this partnership seem better or worse than what you probably would have ended up with naturally? I think why wasn't I already married before this? I think this is I want this to even like come up in I think this comes up in conversation. I think there's a moment where this comes up in like conversation with sort of like the upper crust as we've sort of infiltrated this like smoking room cocktail hour arrangement.
Yes.
And I think it is like, I think that maybe it comes up like somebody asks the Lord Maestro, and Strafer, again, somebody who is short-sighted enough to not have thought of this question, defaults immediately to like a disarmed kind of honesty of like, travel is tough. I was never going to give up work to do so with a partner would seem unfair to them. And also they would have to be like, stops himself from saying kind of a piece of shit, but like you can see in his eye, I think Hart can see in his eyes, they'd have to be a little bit of a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm. I think, okay, so the last question, and you don't have to answer this as like in the conversation if Strafer wouldn't, but does this partnership seem better or worse than what you probably would have ended up naturally?
This at the very least seems, I think that Strafer, like as he is like thinking about this and he's starting to feel a little like wounded as this got realer than he was expecting, kind of like looks over in Hart's direction and does immediately have a moment of like, at least they're willing to meet me on my level. That might be trying to murder each other at sea, but at least we might be willing to meet each other on the same level.
Oh man, I love it. And I think that we need to add affection because I don't think that Hart was expecting, first of all, honesty, and second of all, for that honesty to include like the consideration of the partner, like the effect of the partner if Strafer was at sea, you know?
Yep,
it's just like 100%. A very specific thing to be thinking about.
Great. So your next question is the 9 of diamonds. Did you two have mutual friends before this or overlap in your social circles? And depending on the answer, we will up one of our tracks.
Well, would you consider it a social circle if I arrested and or beat up some other potential lowlifes that Strafer knew?
I think Strafer extremely thinks that's yes.
Okay. I mean, I think Hart does too, because like, look, their vigilante name is the Masked Brawler. That tells you everything you need to know about how they're dealing with people.
Yeah. Yes.
So I think that falls into the connections are slight, which gives us +1 plot. Yeah.
That feels good. I think it comes up in conversation because like I'm going to predict that one of these like upper crust mentions like a local pirate, like the screeching another one of my ships was sunk by the screeching eagle. The screeching eagle sank another one of my company's ships, and Strafer kind of goes like, eagle's a fucking chump.
And that's like at the same time Hart is like kind of snorts at that like and goes, yeah, you're telling me.
Got the weakest like, and kind of like I think like catches himself up for a moment, just like weakest right hook of anyone I've ever met.
Weakest left hook too.
You'd think you would at least learn one of them, right? You'd think you would at least pick up something if you were gonna. Amateurs.
The art of fighting is lost on so many people.
I mean, a dignified battle is something to be admired.
Of course. Yes, of course.
I'm adding another affection. That's very good. Okay, let's draw our next card. We have the 2 of hearts.
Okay.
What do you think about what your spouse does for a living? Would you normally see yourself with someone like that? Damn. I think there's a real, it's my favorite antagonist dynamic is frankly what it is. It is that I'm gonna murder you, but I do respect the hell out of you.
Oh yes, absolutely.
It's that we've been circling each other for long enough that I'm like, I'm gonna leave their body floating at sea. But at least I got to square off with the best that's ever done it.
It's like worthy rivals type thing. Like if anyone else were to try and bring him in, he'd be like, no, amateur hour.
Well, yeah, like who else is going to bring them down? The Screeching Eagle? They're an amateur. Chump change.
I love it. I do think that this raises the question of what Heart does for a living, and I'm considering that to be the vigilantism, but I think that given it's a harbor town, probably their family owns some ships as well.
That feels good. Our next, yes, okay. Our next card is the Jack of Hearts, which means we are doing a marital trial.
Heck yes!
How this is going to work is I'm going to grab a 12-sided dice, and we are going to, so marital trials are special let me stop fiddling with dice. So marital trials are special circumstances that like put us to the test. Whenever we draw one of these, like something distinct happens that we have to kind of navigate our way through. This is a special challenge with greater risks and reward. There are 12 of them available. I'm going to, we have 8. Okay. Let's find out what number 8 is.
That one says performance art. Won't you play something for us on the harpsichord? I heard you have a lovely voice. Come on, show me that parlor trick you did last summer, the one with the teaspoon and a coin. Partygoers are clamoring for entertainment. Each partner should roll a d8. The one with the lower roll has to perform. If you roll doubles, you have to perform together, and token changes are doubled. I have to grab a d8 really quick because I didn't start with one. Okay, I got a 7. Okay. Great. What did you get, Jeff?
How are we performing together?
Oh no. This is too good. Okay. Oh God. I'm trying to think what like talent-wise. I think maybe Heart is going to
I want to propose I think that Strafer is playing the squeeze box.
Okay, see, I was just about to start saying that Heart was like slapping his body, like the percussive body slapping.
That's really good.
Which is kind of a weird talent for a nobility person to have, but I think that that's what they're doing. That's
good. That's really good. So do we roll our d8s again, or do we just add our numbers together? Let me remind myself of the rules.
Token changes are doubled when we perform together, which means, we add ours together. That's how it works.
Even better.
This is going to make us hit the boiling point so fast, and I love it.
I'm very, very happy. So your spouse's performance is enchanting to you as well as the rest of the room. Did you know they had this talent? Ask them to tell you about another hobby they have. We have put on the most buck wild This is that dance scene from Titanic.
Yes.
When they're in the lower decks of just we were in the room. I think that maybe even we saw our target, and then we heard, and then Strafer heard music and was like, I do love this song.
Yeah, and there were people who noticed the feet tapping, and they were like, "Oh, come on, you could perform, right, Heart? You could perform." And before we could stop, they're both making music,
just in it, and we
absolutely
kind of fall back. I think Strafer falls back in a chair, winded, flexing out the hands oh, I haven't had that much fun in a while.
You are an excellent musician.
There's a lot of downtime on the water. It's a good way to keep morale up.
Did you teach yourself?
We found a guy. He agreed to teach us in exchange for not, it was honestly a pretty great arrangement. We dropped him off at port. Frankly, great guy.
I mean, must have been very talented.
Really great teacher, really glad that he's not dead. I think that he's probably still teaching people,
I mean, that's a notch in the belt, right?
Yeah,
Survived an encounter with, well,
Lord Maestro. Survived an encounter with Lord Maestro.
I mean, you're full of surprises, so
a thing.
Yes. Are there any other hidden talents that I should know about?
There is. The second that you say that, has already splayed out his hand, grabbed a knife, and has done the most elaborate knife game, looking you dead in the eyes and never once missing. And then flips the knife and snatches it back on his belt.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so really quick, meta-wise, out of character, because we both rolled this, do we have to both answer these questions, do you think?
Yes, we do. Okay, we do indeed.
So
and
the knife...
we again... I just realized because it's doubled, we gain 6 affection, which means...
And minus 2 plot.
Which means that I think we're at a boiling point.
Okay. Let's finish out the performance.
Yeah, we'll finish out the scene.
Trial. Okay, so the knife thing, Hart's eyebrows go up. They definitely are filing that away in their mind and say, dangerous skill to have.
It's pouring out on the water, and sometimes you got to spice things up with a little danger. What about you?
Only child, very bored, spent a lot of time with the staff at the manor. You pick up a few things going to the gatherings, the dances with the house staff. So just a little, percussion, not exactly what people expect.
Is the percussion the only thing you picked up at the dances? Or is there anything else? Any other skills in your toolkit aside from kind of like half gestures toward how like it does like a hidden, very like hidden right hook gesture to make sure that no one else notices?
Yeah. So Hart is kind of glances around for a second and smiles and says, you ever been to a dance that's not at one of these like gestures at the room things? There's a lot of interesting dances out there, and I know them all.
I love to hear this. I'd love to see them one day.
I'm sure that we'll have the opportunity.
And I think like as we sit quietly on these chairs, we reach a boiling point. Whenever we get 10 tokens in a category, which this dual dance has thrust us towards, we are at a head. Like the situation has come to a head and needs to be addressed now for better or for worse. We are at an affection boiling point, which means that now we are both going to roll our D8, and then we are going to note the difference between the two numbers and see what that tells us.
All right.
I have rolled a 2.
I got a 5.
So that is a difference of 3. It is the end. Our attraction can no longer be denied. We have to do something about it one way or the other. Consider your other token counts. If suspicion and plot are low, do you throw it all away and just continue as things are? If they are high, does this give you the burst of passion you need to get the job done? So we have 0 plot and 1 suspicion. We have hurtled towards affection in every available capacity.
The doubles really just pushed us over the edge.
Pushed us right to the edge. That performance was magic. I think. Do you have an idea? Because I might. I'm cooking something.
That's kind of where I'm at. I'm like turning over an idea. I mean, our other scores are so low. Feel like, I feel like they got to leave this event, you know?
Mm-hmm. I think that this is a good ending beat. I think it is that we there's this moment of like we're just kind of sit in these chairs and look at each other and like look in the direction of we never named our Mark. I'm gonna name him
Here at the end of the episode.
Bertram Feathersworth.
Oh yes, so hateable.
Eyeing Feathersworth, looking at you, big smile on his face. You know, Featherworth's not going anywhere.
That is true. It takes time to set up a business like his.
And eventually he's going to sail away from the gala.
And who's to say that there won't be other ships sailing away also?
And who's to say that he just won't happen to sail right into the arc of the Infernal Galleon?
Oh, I hear the captain of that ship is very fearsome.
I mean, he's not to be trifled with, but you know, in the chaos of the Infernal Galleon laying waste to this gala of the rich and powerful, who's to say that a masked brawler couldn't show up, beat the living dog shit out of Feathersworth, and maybe you know,
we'll just see what happens.
There are worse options than cutting to the chase.
Deal a swift and decisive blow.
Exactly. Sometimes, you know, there's something to be said for the quiet knife, and there's something to be said for, and he spreads out his hands, flips the knife, and jams it right between his middle and ring finger. And there's something to be said for jamming the knife straight into the table.
You make a very compelling point. I don't suppose that there would be room on a ship you might know about for, let's say, our vigilante friend. Probably won't be looked on too kindly.
I think we could, I'm certain, if with the right show of force to win over the crew, I'm certain that a space could be made for a masked brawler.
Well, I guess we just have to see how this evening goes then.
Yes, indeed. And I think stands up. The Lord Maestro has one small piece of business to attend to, and then I shall, I believe, make my exit, and throws you a wink. And I think we cut to later that. What does it look like when the masked brawler sieges the Infernal Galleon, or quote unquote sieges the Infernal Galleon?
Okay, so this is after Featherston has been dealt with. You know, the brawler still has blood on their knuckles. I think that they've taken Featherston's ship because why not? Might as well go out big, right? And they pull up alongside here. They pull up alongside this other vessel and look at the Infernal Galleon and they say, make room. I'll be getting on this ship now, and just kind of raise their fists like they're ready to fight about it.
And I think that like there's a collective like bring it on from the crew. You jump in. There's like a fight. You pretty effortlessly take out several members of the crew, almost as if the youngest and most experienced members of the crew were put on the front lines. And out from the captain's quarters stumbles, like wearing a blanket, like a blanket toga, for lack of a better way to put it, is like a very flustered looking middle-aged man with an immaculately sculpted beard who just runs, jumps hard into the water, coming stumbling out fully dressed is Strafer Cartwright, the Infernal Galleon, sword drawn, and says, "If you wish to take my ship, we will settle this in my quarters, if you dare."
Uh, I think the masked brawler gets this glint in their eye and punches one more guy, knocks him down, and then very confidently strides over there.
Walks in, starts to close the door. The last thing we hear, you didn't really have to. That was unnecessary. You were gonna get unnecessary.
You told me to sell it.
And we see the barest, like we see as the door closes, like a deep kiss, the door slams shut, fade to black, and that's game. That's eyes on the prize.
That was so fun. I feel like we had a speed run with that marital trial.
We truly did. That marital trial really threw us into the deep end. Because it was the fact that we had we were at 9 and then you pointed out that we were losing 2 plot and I was like, well, that's it. That's game. But I also love the energy of like these two characters who have been like butting heads for so long. The second that they're put into the situation going, shit, are we perfect for each other?
It's one of those like, oh God, maybe if we had ever actually talked, not while fighting, this was a whole thing all along.
Yeah. Oh God damn it.
Oh, that was fun. Thank you for playing.
That was so much fun. Thank you for playing this with me. This was a blast. What was your favorite part to play?
Oh man, I really like the questions. I like the questions that make the characters be introspective. So like when we did that scene where Strafer was kind of talking to the people in the scene, but then there was like part of the question that was like just the internal narration, and that's like such a key piece of this trope to me that I love that this game does that.
Yeah, I really enjoy that the game like takes the time to. There's the events and there's the happenings, like that's all really great, but like you're exactly right, that sense of pausing to kind of like unpack is this right, like how are we feeling, and like how are we contextualizing our emotional relationship, like that is so fun. Like it's fun. It's the fun of this scenario is like these moments of interrogating how we're feeling towards one another. And it was really a joy to play out those little moments.
What about you? What was your favorite part?
I really, really enjoyed the decision that you made. That the tiny decision that you throw out of this was like a town festival. Like in my head, when we were pitching the plot, like I was so certain that it was going to be like we were around the upper crust, and the unexpected throw in of that twist and how it kind of like impacted the prompts around us was so satisfying. Like, and it immediately, the great thing about like good collaborative storytelling is the way that you get these wrenches of, we were perceiving things differently and then finding the middle ground in that I think is a really magical thing that like that was the epitome of that moment.
Well, thank you. I had so much fun with it. These guys were so weird and I love them.
Also like that's the other thing, like this is my favorite kind of guy. Yeah. There's a this is the reference point that I use a lot, but like there's a distinct kind of Venture Brothers energy of we are in this specific violent theatrical lifestyle and we have accepted it as our day job, that like I will like light up like a Christmas tree whenever it comes up. And so these characters just being like, yeah, we hate each other, we're gonna fight at sea, but it's work. It's an energy that I adore.
It's so fun. It's so fun. I realized like belatedly that I had kind of a Scarlet Pimpernel energy coming in with the vigilante, but I can't say I'm mad about it. I love that story and I like how this turned out just in relation to the way that stories like the Scarlet Pimpernel and like the Three Musketeers and stuff. Just the twists and the way that they're comedic, you know?
Yeah, I think that like it's that to me was what made the game so promising, is that kind of comedy of we are like it is the fact that I like that the scheme is never off the table. I like, to me, this kind of story is very tied to we are having these feelings, but we are being thrust back towards this scheme that we are trying to undertake, and the central tension of that. And that is, to me, really the joy of this game and this experience. And I think we hit that on the head. Like, we really like hit that bullseye in the sense of we feel like, oh, well, we're still gotta come back to being vigilantes and pirates and trying to kill this guy.
Yes. Yes, I love that. And it was so clear to me too during play, like how this could be a much longer form game if you wanted it to be, you know?
Yeah. Like the flow of it was really nice. And like, had we not stumbled into a speed run, it truly felt like we could have just gone and gone and gone. But I also like the energy of it matches that tension of like that showcases the idea that like this could blow up at any moment in any direction. That like we were fairly low in dice, and then suddenly it's like, and then something happens that just pushes us into the end game. And like, I really enjoy that kind of tension because it mirrors the sense of this could all fall apart at any moment.
Right. And the tension is the central thing besides the relationship.
Yes. It's just, this game rules. Thank you so much for playing this with me. This was a delight.
This was so fun. This was great.
So real quick, before we wrap up, where can people find you and your work online?
I am Lady Tabletop online, so you can find me on Tumblr under that name or on itch.io under that name. Like I said, I host Alone at the Table on the Moonshot Podcast Network, so you can find my show and other shows at moonshotpods.com.
And I will say again, I really love Alone at the Table. Like, what a good...
thank you.
This is, it has, and I think that one of the things that I appreciate is that I think our shows have a mutual energy of doing a very simple thing that underscores how fucking cool and big and like dramatic and game changing it is. And that's the first thing that I noticed when I heard Alone at the Table. I was like, oh, this is cool. It's like a single player actual play with music and sound. I was like, okay, it's immediately clicking to me that is a fucking big deal.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I have a lot of fun doing it, and I just really love games. And so it's like another avenue for me to be able to play and showcase and just like talk about the games that I think that are cool and that I have a good time and tell some stories while I'm at it. So
I really enjoy it. Well, thank you again for doing the show. This was wonderful. And for now, I'm going to throw it over to me in the future so that he can wrap things up. Take it, future me. Thanks, past me. And thanks again to Audrey for coming on the show. That game fucking ripped. I laughed so hard editing this episode, almost as hard as I did while playing the episode. This one was truly magic. It is so special when you get guest and host who are on the same wavelength, two players who've absolutely keyed into the vibe with a game that really encourages that kind of like heavy leaning in. It's magic every way through, and like I have been smiling about this game ever since we played it. Be sure to head to iraprints.itch.io for your own copy of Eyes on the Prize. Be sure to check out the Alone at the Table podcast. You can find a link to that in the show notes. And be sure to join us this weekend, Memorial Day weekend 2024, for the Moonshot Podcast Network's Moon Garitaville charity stream benefiting the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society at twitch.tv/Moonshot Network. And be sure to follow Audrey on Tumblr at Lady Tabletop. Then once you've done all of that, head over to Twitter. I mean, as long as that's still a fucking website. Then while you're on Twitter, follow us at Party of One Pod. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Party of One Podcast. Find us on TikTok at Party of One Podcast. Find us on Tumblr at Party of One Pod. Subscribe to our newsletter at buttondown.email/Party of One Podcast. And join our Discord community at bit.ly/Party of One Discord. If you enjoy the show, there's a lot of ways to support it. You can support us financially at patreon.com/JeffStormer or Ko-fi.com/JeffStormer. You can give us a nice iTunes review, shout us out to a friend, give us some love on social media. You can buy some Party of One merch at bit.ly/PartyOfOneMerch. Or, if you're looking for more great podcast content, you can check out All My Fantasy Children, which is a character creation, storytelling, and world-building podcast that I make with my best friend in the world, Aaron Catano Saez. We take a listener-submitted prompt and spin it into an original fantasy character, populating a shared universe one story at a time. You can also check out Yazeba's Bed and Breakfast, which is an actual play about a heartless witch, a cozy house, and the many people making their homes inside. Both of those you can find wherever you get your podcasts. Party of One is, as always, produced and edited by Jeff Stormer and Jen Frank. Music for the show comes from the song Infinite Lives by Mega Ran featuring the D&D Sluggers, and the Party of One logo is by Evan Rowland. If you'd like to inquire about advertising rates, coming on the show as a guest, or about press coverage of the show, you can email me at partyofonepodcast@gmail.com. And, unless I am mistaken, that is all we do here. So until next time, thank you so much for listening. Remember to fight the forces of fascism every single day. Remember that self-love and self-care are radical and defiant acts of resistance. And as always, party on, everybody.